Hey, this is the Review Junkie, and today I'll be reviewing the first two episodes of X-Men 97. As always, my review will be illustrated and the artwork is done by myself. And if you like movies, TV shows, art, and comic books, please hit that subscribe button because all my reviews are hand-drawn and I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers soon so my channel can be official. This show stars the voice talents of Ray Chase, Cal Dodd, Lenore Zahn, Allison Seeley Smith, and many more. This is a semi-non-spoiler review because it's hard to review a show like this without giving some context. I'll try to be as spoiler-free as possible and tell you briefly about the plot, the characters, my pros and cons, final thoughts, and if this is worth checking out. Alright, so we're finally here. It's been slow torture, but after 3+ years of having Disney Plus busting our balls, we finally have the 90s X-Men back. So is the 90s magic still there? Are they really back though? Yes, but only when episode 2 starts. And I don't want to bore you because I feel everyone knows about the X-Men by now, but it's a comic book that's been adapted to so many different media forms, from toys to video games and so on, and it's about a group of mutants with specialized powers whom are marginalized by humans for being different. Their motivation and cause are relatable on so many levels, and if you're familiar with the 90s show, this really does pick up shortly after the season 5 finale. So the plot for the first episode actually has a few things going on. It primarily focuses on the resurgence of the Sentinels, and these are gigantic robots built for the sole purpose of capturing mutants. And there's also a subplot involving a teenage mutant named Roberto da Costa, and if you're a hardcore comics fan, then you'll know he's a member of the New Mutants and X-Force. He has the ability to channel solar energy, so basically fire powers like the Human Torch from Fantastic Four. So the gang starts to investigate how the Sentinels are back, since that storyline concluded in season 1. We also have the reappearance of familiar villains from Trask and Henry Gyrick, whom developed the Sentinels, but they're voiced by new actors here. There's also some plot threads that don't get wrapped up, and I'm thinking they'll probably get revisited later on. So let me get my two cons out of the way and we'll get to the good stuff. If you're familiar with season 1, you'll quickly notice that these two new episodes actually aren't that new. It almost comes off as a wash, rinse, and repeat of the first two episodes from 1992. Episode 1 was about the Sentinels being introduced, and the same happens here. The second episode, titled Enter Magneto, involved Magneto, a courthouse, and a disruption, and I'm trying to stay spoiler-free, but here, Episode 2 actually follows the same beats. And in all honesty, Episode 1 wasn't even needed, and we could have just started with Episode 2. It really is a throwaway episode. So my second complaint is the okay voice acting by all the new voice actors. They're not unique, they don't stand out, and they aren't exactly bursting and popping with personality. What made the original so special was the voice acting because they were distinctive. It made the characters more memorable. The new Jean Grey sounds so boring. Remember in the original, she always sounded like she was having an orgasm every time she used her mutant powers. I was like, I'll have what she's having. Okay, but we don't get that here, and Morph, who is a jokester, has a personality of a pebble here. Another minor gripe is Storm, because she always gives great short speeches before using her powers, and she didn't really do a catchy one here. So let's get to the juicy stuff. Episode 2 kicks it into high gear. I felt like they raised the stakes, they took some risk, and there was actual tension once the second act gets underway. It actually reached a point where my hands are sweating in anticipation of what was going to happen next, and by the end of the third act, it actually gets emotional because something happens to Storm. And I didn't expect that from a kid's cartoon. And depending on how invested you are in X-Men or the 90s series, you may actually get choked up as well. And the great voice acting by Allison Seeley Smith, who voices Storm, does such a good job at bringing those emotions out. So this continuation has so much good stuff going for it. First off, they left the original theme song in, but it's remixed. And regardless It gets you pumped, and the opening sequence is almost a copy and paste of the original, but with updated animation. No issues with the copy and paste because a classic never dies. Next is the animation. It is off the charts. It's updated, looks clean, looks sharp. I like all the character designs, and there's a visual flair to it that the trailer didn't do justice. If you have a 4K TV, you'll see all the dedication in the artwork, and I suggest seeing this on the biggest screen you have at home with the volume pumped up all the way. These spurts of humor are still here, and I also like that it has tons of Easter eggs because there's a lot of nods to the original X-Men comics from 1991 when legendary comic book artist Jim Lee got his own X-Men series, and you'll see it in the clothes and in the basketball court scene. I have to say the action here was a surprise. The stunning animation only enhances those scenes when they happen, and I actually didn't expect the action in episode 2 to go where it went, and there was even blood. Now, when episode 2 starts, you actually feel how mature for a kid's cartoon this really is, and I like the weekly release schedule. It is something to look forward to, and episode 2 does end on a cliffhanger, and boy is it juicy. And I kind of had a feeling I knew what it was from the trailer, and I'll just say that it involves Big Red. So this brings me to my final thoughts, and episode 1 gets a 6, and episode 2 gets a solid 9 out of 10 from me. I'm so glad this show is back. I hope it goes on and on for many, many seasons, and just don't make us wait till 2025 for season 2 because this is one of the best shows Disney Plus has churned out when so many of the others were complete duds. I'll definitely be doing a spoiler review on my channel soon because there's a lot to discuss and I am fanboying out. Check the show out, support them, and let me know your thoughts below. And thanks again for checking out my review. If you like, please subscribe, helps the channel out a lot. Hit that thumbs up button, feel free to share this with your friends, and if you happen to have a movie you'd like me to review, please let me know. I'd be happy to watch and illustrate it for a future video. Thanks again, and I hope the pictures put a smile on your face.